Herbie Nichols was a pianist composer in the 50s, late 50s. I heard this wonderful story about him when I first learned his music from trombonist Roswell Rudd. I asked him to share the story with my magazine. I publish a magazine that covers this kind of stuff. He said no, but that I should ask Steve Swallow, the bass player, because he was on the gig. So this is a story from Steve. He was kind enough to write out the story to me. And it goes something like this. My trip to Jamaica with Herbie Nichols must have happened in 1960 or 61. I played with him previously in Roswell Rudd's Lower Manhattan Live. Roswell had organized a small band. I remember that Wal Curtis was the drummer, to play Herbie's music, which I loved in rehearsal. I also worked with in the occasional small club with him. The Riviera and the Page 3 come to mind. In that context, he had the remarkable ability to play complex, extraordinary individual music masquerading as ordinary and conservative. I was called at the last minute to play in a Dixieland band on a Turkish cruise ship. Now this ship was to set sail from Brooklyn to the Caribbean, through the Panama Canal, and up the West Coast. The leader of the band was a moldy fig cornetist named Walter Bowe, who was subsequently sent to prison for plotting to blow up the Statue of Liberty in the company of a couple of FBI agents. The clarinetist was Ted Bellefeld, a sculptor who owned the clarinet. The drummer, whose name I don't recall, was a relentlessly flashy bebop. And there was Herbie. We met at a pier in Brooklyn and set sail. As soon as we'd left land, our salaries cut. Herbie made a dash for the rail, but we restrained him. Now, as I recall, Herbie had pretty much no baggage, just his black suit, white shirt and tie, which was all I'd ever seen him wear. We set up in the ship's salon for tea time and launched into the standard Dixieland repertoire. We promptly emptied the room, and it stayed pretty much empty for all of our subsequent performances. The ship's amenities were minimal. Dinner was lamb chops and chocolate ice cream every night. In the middle of the Caribbean, in the night, I was awakened by a loud clunk, followed by a weird silence. In the morning, we were told that the engine was broke. We wallowed in the open water for a couple of days, as I recall. Without refrigeration, the chocolate ice cream all melted and was dumped overboard, forming a sickly, dark scum on the water. Eventually, we were joined by another boat, which towed us to Jamaica, apparently the nearest port. We were eventually ferried ashore along with all the other passengers. When it became clear that the boat wasn't going anywhere, anytime soon. The U.S. diplomatic representatives did what they could for us. They put us up in a hotel on the agreement that we performed by the pool. We spent a few days in Limbo, exploring the island, and were then flown to New York. We had no money. The U.S. government paid our fares. We arrived back in Manhattan with barely enough money between us to get to our homes. Herbie was a pleasure. He wrote poetry daily during our adventure. And sensing my sympathy, showed it to me every night. I ended up with several pages of verse in his own elegant hand, but I subsequently lost them. And of course he played beautifully. And that's my story.